Hey guys, welcome back to Topless Talks with Nova, and this is episode 11. It's been a really good week. It's actually been a really good week, guys. I hope that you had a good week. I feel so good. I don't even... Sorry, I just hit record and I'm just like... Anyway, I've had a really good week this week because I managed to go to the gym every day that I meant to, which is really exciting. I haven't done that in a while. And I'm decorating for Halloween today. Yay! It's fucking spooky season, guys. Y'all aren't even ready. You guys are not even ready for the shit that I've got planned during October, okay? Be prepared for the spookiest fucking topics. We're gonna be scared. We're gonna be talking about scary shit. So, buckle up, babes. But today is actually not a spooky topic. Today's a really good topic. Today, we're gonna be talking about self-respect. And we're going to really dive into how to create boundaries and how to establish boundaries, which is important. And I talk about it all the fucking time, but I haven't really dived into it that deep. So I figured, why don't we just step by step together how to establish boundaries with other people and how to express self-respect. So, what is a definition of respect? By definition, it is a state of being regarded with honor or esteem, or consideration or appreciation. And that is spot on, obviously, for me. So when we're talking about self-respect, it's literally just saying consideration for ourselves and consideration for our personal morals and values, you know? And I say personal morals and values because everyone kind of has their own, everyone has their own way of expressing respect for both themselves and other people. For example, some people find modesty as respecting themselves, and other people, such as myself, I look at sexual freedom or expressive freedom as respecting myself, which, might not include modesty. Also, another example would be prioritizing self-care versus prioritizing your career, or generosity versus self-preservation. I mean, these are all kind of opposing ideals, kind of opposing morals. So it's really, 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 really important to actually sit down with yourself and figure out what exactly your morals are and what your values are, at your core. Don't think about it in a way that, this is what other people find respectful, or this is what other people find good, And sometimes respecting yourself kind of rubs people the wrong way, Staying true to yourself can rub people the wrong way. Obviously, saying no, people don't really like that, Also, focusing on yourself, and focusing on your goals can sometimes, cause issues in your friendships and relationships because maybe you're not as present in them as you were in the past or as they wish that you could be. Also, doing things that make you happy that maybe aren't generally socially accepted, like sex work, or, living a sober lifestyle, or maybe a weird, quirky hobby that you have. Not everyone is going to accept it, and the people in your life may have a hard time chewing it, but in the theme of respecting ourselves and staying true to ourselves, I urge you to keep doing it, whatever it is that sets you apart. And the thing is, like, if you respect yourself continuously and stay true to like yourself and your interests and your values and morals, then like you will find the people that are meant to be in your life. Like you're going to find your tribe. And I really, really do believe that. I think that when you are authentically yourself, then you allow other people to experience your authentic self. So it's really important to be yourself. And I know I've said that on this fucking podcast before, okay? So there are different forms of respect. You know, there's respecting your body, which is like eating well, exercising, moving around, practicing safe sex. There's respecting your time, like honoring your commitments and saying no when you have to. Respecting your abilities, which that is like being honest about who you are, what you can do, and accepting that. Like if you have a tough day and you weren't able to get as much done as you thought that you wanted to, respecting yourself is accepting yourself as well. Allowing yourself the grace to be imperfect, which is a big one, guys. That's a big one. You have to allow yourself the grace to be imperfect. We can't be perfect all the time, okay? If you make a mistake, shake it off. You know, it's all good. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. I definitely make mistakes all day, every day. I'm like desensitized to it. And also, like, under respecting your abilities is targeting areas for improvement. So if you, and being realistic about it. So if you see an area in your life that you might be lacking and that you really genuinely feel like if you put in some extra work towards it that you can improve, then that's self-respect. That's a form of like loving yourself and respecting yourself. So like I said before, you really need to sit down and figure out your morals and your values. So first, sit down and make a list of all of the people and things and feelings that are important to you. What are the things that you want to feel the most, or the people that you want to nurture, the relationships that you want to nurture the most, or, you know, things in your life that you want to accomplish or whatever, like your job or a business or whatever. Write down all the things that are important to you. And then a separate list. Write down your most important qualities that you respect in a person. So like kindness, compassion, tolerance, modesty, self-control, etc., etc. There's a lot of different things. There's so many different morals, and everyone's is different, you know? Like, for example, one person might value like ambition and self-discipline and perseverance, while the next person kind of wants to prioritize joy and patience and wisdom. And while those people probably value all of those things, you know, it's not like the person who wants to prioritize joy doesn't also value ambition, but these are the ones that are most important to them and that they want to focus on the most. So really figure out what values, and even if you have to do a Google search and like figure out what are examples of morals and values that I can strive towards. And it can literally probably give you a fucking list of all these different ways that you can live your life. And when you do this, I want you, like I said, focus on yourself. Don't look at it through a lens of someone else. When you make this list of like morals that you value, make them ones that you respect, not what you think other people will respect. Does that make sense? Because if you're doing what you think other people will respect, then it'll just be so much harder to stick to that and like be consistent with that, because you're living your whole life for other people, and like don't do that. And not only should you respect yourself, and this goes without saying, but you should also respect other people. Respecting yourself is a good way to practice respect for other people. For example, being honest with yourself, that gives you the space to be more honest with other people and being more vulnerable with other people. And also being honest with yourself kind of gives you the space to learn more open and like non-violent communication. Like no yelling, no insulting. You're able to identify how you're feeling and voice it and take responsibility for it. That's all goes into respecting yourself and respecting other people. Just living a life of love and respect. So, establishing personal boundaries. We're getting into the nitty-gritty now, okay? Knowing your limits. When you voice boundaries, when you establish a boundary with another person, it's very important to use I statements. Try not to say you, because it's not about controlling the other person. It's about respecting yourself. So, for example, there's different kinds of boundaries. There's physical, emotional, time, intellectual, financial, and sexual boundaries, of course. We'll get into that. But some examples of like boundaries that you can make with other people. I need more space. I'm not comfortable with physical touch. Or like an emotional boundary. I don't want to discuss this topic. Or I'm not comfortable proceeding with this conversation with you right now. Or even, I just need more time to consider how I'm going to respond. But you can only say these things if you're honest enough with yourself to know this. You have to really be self-aware enough to know that when you are having an interaction with someone, like what exactly you need in that moment. Because of course we just want to react and react and react and react, which is not productive usually for conversations that we want to have with people that we care about. And it might not even be with someone that you care about. It might be, you're establishing a boundary with your boss or your ex or your boyfriend or your family. Another example of like a time boundary would be, I need so-and-so day off for rest, and that could be to your spouse or to your boss or whatever. Or, sorry, I can't do this for you. I need to prioritize my own schedule. And I know a lot of people can benefit from just that statement alone. I need to prioritize my own schedule today. I'm sorry. You don't even have to apologize. I can't help you. I need to prioritize my own schedule today. That's so powerful because it's not like blaming them saying, oh, like I can't deal with your shit today. It's saying I've been lacking in my life and today I need to focus on that. I would love to help you, but today I physically can't. And people are going to respect you so much more for just being honest about that and being upfront and concise. Big one is financial boundaries. I can only spend this much money. When you're talking to a cam girl, hey, this is my budget. This is how much I can spend today. Or if you are entering a relationship and you're having the financials conversation with like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and say you expect in a relationship for the financials to be 50-50. Say that. I expect for us to be 50-50. Or I'm not comfortable with joint financial decisions or a joint bank account or something. These are all really healthy boundaries that you can make, and they're not mean, they're not rude, they are clear and to the point. We're going to get to sexual boundaries, but that's going to be like its own thing, okay? Just letting you know. So with creating these boundaries, you need to be consistent with it. It's only effective if you are consistent with them. You really need to avoid making exceptions for people, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of creating the boundaries in the first place. And again, it's about respecting yourself. It's not about controlling the other person. That's why you use I statements. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm going to do this if you continue to do this. That allows them the space to do with that information as they choose. You're not forcing them to do anything, but you are telling them that if this continues, then I'm going to do this. And usually I would hope that that would be just leaving the situation or, doing the healthiest thing for you in that moment. And when you do this, when you establish boundaries and you're really starting to enforce them, you've got to be prepared for resistance. People are not going to be happy with that, especially if you are a people pleaser and you have been letting people walk all over you for most of your life. When you switch it up on people, they're not going to be happy. But you have to stay strong. You've got to be consistent, stay calm, yet assertive. Okay, I'm giving you the strength right now to stick to your guns. Stand on business, bitch. And boundaries can change over time. If you get a new job, maybe your budget changes, or maybe your life circumstances change, and maybe you're more comfortable with this now than you were in the past. You're allowed to regularly evaluate and adjust, because it's your life, bitch. It's your life, and life is all over the place, and circumstances change, and this process is going to take time and effort and patience. So just be kind to yourself. You're learning. This is like learning a new life skill. It's not going to happen overnight. And just give yourself grace. Okay? So we're going to go on to sexual boundaries now. So there's different forms of sexual boundaries. Okay? There's explicit boundaries, which is things that you say, such as, I'm not comfortable with this, or I don't want to do anal, or I don't like being tied up, or anything of that nature. Those are explicit boundaries that you say to your partner exactly what it is you like or dislike. Or there's implicit, which is more implied, such as not initiating sex if you're not both in the mood, unless of course it's otherwise agreed upon. Or another example of an implicit boundary is not participating in something that you're not comfortable with. These are more obvious boundaries, but I feel like they should still be said. Okay? So again, when you're communicating a sexual boundary, you want to use I statements. I'm not sure about trying this. Can we talk about it? Or, I'm not comfortable with this. Can we find an alternative? Or I need to think about this. Can we revisit this another time? And these are all good statements for other kinds of boundaries as well. Another way to establish sexual boundaries is a safe word. And these are really good because it's quick, it's to the point, and it can be no questions asked. You say the safe word and it just stops, and there's no judgment. It's really important to, even if you just partake in vanilla sex, to have establish a safe word with your partner, because there are many reasons why consent may change suddenly. There's a lot of reasons for that. And so you need to respect your partner and respect yourself and establish a safe word with each other. And by respecting yourself sexually, I mean not engaging in sex that you don't want to have, or even allowing yourself to explore your own sexual desires, or even your needs solo without pressure. There's a lot of misconceptions about sex workers, strippers, cam girls, OnlyFans girls, because we show our bodies that we don't respect ourselves. And I put that under quotes because It's not true. Like I was saying earlier, everyone kind of has their own morals. Maybe your morals, maybe a moral that you value is modesty. That's not something that I value. I think that sexual expression or, artistic expression, I think being able to freely express yourself, that's a moral that I value. That's something that I value in my life. And so being able to express myself the way that I do and feel no shame for it, that's me respecting myself. That's me honoring who I am, honoring my values. And so I think that it's like a really important discussion to have with people, especially when like guys especially are like, oh, like she doesn't respect herself, no self-respect, like she's fucking guys left and right, blah, blah, blah. So when you hear someone say that, you need to remind them that maybe under their core values, I'm not respecting myself, but maybe I don't have the same core values. Maybe we have come from very extremely different backgrounds. That doesn't make me any less or any more. It doesn't make them any less or any more. It simply makes us different. And I think that life is beautiful that way, where everyone has their own differences and like their own values and stuff. And I think that we need to embrace the differences that we have in each other and accept the differences that we have in each other. Sorry, I got kind of like after school special there for a sec. But anyway, so if you are one of those people that thinks that women who expose themselves online is an indication of a lack of self-respect, I gently remind you that we're all different people. I value my freedom to express my body the way that I like. I consensually do this, Anyway, come counter and sex fact. So, for the sex fact, in 16th century France, wives could charge their husbands with impotence. And when they did this, the husbands would have to demonstrate his erectile dysfunction in front of a courtroom. Imagine you struggle to get it hard and your wife takes you to court for it. Not only that, but you have to show an entire courtroom that you can't get hard. 16th century France wives were something else, dude. That's cold, man. That's fucking cold. In a courtroom, in front of an entire jury. I don't know if they had like a whole jury back then. I don't know what the court system was like in 16th century France, so I can't say that for sure. But in front of at least a judge, probably a couple priests at that point. Man, that's vicious. That is vicious. So, onto the cum counter. I actually did really well this week at keeping track. My numbers aren't great because I'm still kind of recovering, but 8 for the week. Woo! 8 orgasms this week, guys. Okay. Did you beat me or did I beat you? Who won? Who won for the week? Okay. Who got first? Anyway, I think that'll do it for me, guys. This was a really good episode. I hope that maybe we were able to find some common ground there, or maybe I was able to like convert you a little bit, or maybe taught you a few things. I don't know. Whatever you get for my podcast or my episodes or whatever, I appreciate you. Period. I love you. Remember, drink water, stay weird, and touch yourself regularly. If life gets too weird, blame it on like the moon or something, okay? Just blame it on the moon. That's what most people do. Anyway, love ya. Bye.